What's up, sexies? Happy Monday. Doing it again. Yeah, boy. So, self-affliction. The journey continues. What is the world bred these days? The creation of evil in itself that we even created jobs for, to continue to bring others down. Let's touch criticism today, as that's a big one. Man, criticism is your autobiography, because there's several different types of criticism, as most of us know. Constructive, deconstructive, jealousy, or maybe you have it as a job, which still makes no sense to me. How someone who isn't capable of doing something criticize others who are capable as to whether or not they do a good job. Come again? You know what? Never mind. Anyways, criticism. It's a byproduct of us. It's us being affected by others' behavior, by their feelings or issues. But as I say, everything starts with us. That's where we resonate it. It's born within us, criticism. And we're illy persecuted growing up as a child with criticism. So that's how we take it into adulthood. But where it weighed on us from others as a child, we use it to affect ourselves as adults. And inevitably it becomes your autobiography. So, criticism, man, I just, get itchy every time I hear the word. Like I said, it's when you reach out and attack others for their behavior or their feelings about something, you attack their personality or their character. Like when someone at the office does something good or nice, and you're like, I could have done that. I got all that recognition. Why didn't you? Instead of criticizing, why don't you do something? Why don't you make yourself worthy? And then, sometimes people are filled with blame. It's always been my fault. It's been my fault since I was a child. It's still my fault today. And these people are defensive critics. They lash out real quick because they've prepared all their life, because it's all they've ever dealt with. You have your I can improve. How do I get better? Those who feel like they've plateaued and can't continue to achieve success within life or upgrade or move to that next step. So they turn and they start attacking people's characters, attacking their achievements, trying to bring them back down so that way they don't feel so submissive. And there's the right way. Everyone's got the right way one, right? He doesn't do that right. She doesn't do that right. This is probably the biggest criticism between couples. I don't like the way he folds the clothes. You're not doing it the right way. I don't like the way she does that. She doesn't do it the right way. Inevitably, it demoralizes them and yourself, because you don't make any room for anything else but criticism. There's no chance to upgrade or to build up when all you do is criticize. It's got to be some kind of constructive. But at the same time, it can't always be all the time either. Some people have to learn their own way. It's a force of nature. But, why? Why do we always choose to attack others? Why do we always choose to criticize instead of build them up? Well, because we feel like our ego's attacked. Ego. Or, we have to be defensive because we're in some kind of submission where it's either going to be this way or not. We've been devalued, from something someone had to say, or the boss, or maybe even our own doing. So the only way to make ourselves feel better is to reach out and criticize somebody else. Try to be like, well, at least I wasn't that bad. Yeah, we all make mistakes. Own up. I swear your life will change. You own up. But, criticize. Like I said, since children, it's childhood development. We get it from our caretakers, which I have good friends who was in the system as kids, and it's tough. It's tough to have someone who would never be proud of you or just used you for what the system gives to them. Free house, food, and all they did was criticize you. They never taught you anything. But as most of us have parents, we get this from our siblings or our peers, and probably more of an influence from our peers than it is our siblings. But I don't know. My sibling has downs, so I grew up in a different light than most of the rest of the generations, and a need and a want to help versus to criticize and beat. And it's especially painful as a child, because as a child, we haven't cognitively developed the mindset that we need to be able to attack criticism and other harsh things brought upon us. And it requires a higher frontal cortex of operation to be able to distinguish whether it was someone else or it was me that did wrong. Children don't have this yet. So, that turns to self-criticism the older you become as an adult. And then you have those friends who walk around and are always like, oh yeah, I always screw it up, or I'm short, or they continually criticize themselves in first meetings. Some things are obvious, some things don't need to be laid out, but you continue to demoralize your own character with criticism. But like I said, development. That way as a child. This is why I talk about, always being so present with your kids, because, you just never really know. You got to encourage the change. Don't undermine confidence whenever they earn it or they do good. It may not have been the best picture they ever draw in their life, but it's the encouragement that counts, not the criticism. Well, you should have done this, you should have done that. No, let the imagination run wild. Because when you set limitations for it, you set a barrier for us all, especially growing up into adulthood. And the process continues to repeat. And when it's constantly over and over again, people develop this defense system, and they don't do well, even with constructive criticism at this point, because to them it's just criticism. It's always bashing them or their character, and it leads to you as well. It, like I said, writes your autobiography on how you treat others and how you continue to deal with the everyday. And as much as that pushes into a further note, it causes fakeness that's noticeable within other people. Those who, you can blindly tell that they're pawning for the simple fact of they know someone's going to criticize them anyway. So why should I do a good job? Doesn't matter whether I do or I don't. Doesn't matter how I treat people or not. It's not recognized. That's the problem. It's because it's more critics than there is encouragers anymore in this world. We got enough. Stop labeling. Stop criticizing. Because that's what you do. When you criticize, you avoid your own problems. You avoid discrepancies within yourself. What are you avoiding? Think about that. Every time you go to decide to criticize somebody, be it an adult, a child, or anything, stop and take a moment and think about what you're avoiding in your own life that you could criticize, that you don't do right. You'll stop criticizing other people when you see your own flaws as well. But on, that big note, if all you do is judge, you leave no time for love. You leave no time to build and to do better. If all you do is criticize, then you continue to wonder where the world's at, where the love's gone, where the good relationships, the good people are. Well, it's become hidden, my friend. Become hidden. Because when you continue to go out here and criticize and put out jealousy, everything hides from a jaded heart. And on a jealousy note, and don't waste your time. You know what? Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. But remember, it's a long journey for everyone. Love you guys. Y'all stay up and stay beautiful. As always, I'll see you around.